Welcome back to Critical Mass, the show that criticizes comic critiques and decides if they are worth repeating. Today's criticism is, are female comic book characters over-sexualized? There are those who would say that women in comic books are represented way too sexually. This breaks down to three major components. 1. Sexual behavior. Some take issue with comic book women being presented as mere male fantasies, where they are extremely sexually aggressive to an unrealistic degree and in ways that are pretty out of character. For example, Mina Harker in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, who suddenly, surprisingly, and graphically comes onto the elderly Alan Quartermain. This comes from out of nowhere, and examples like these are not uncommon, like the animated film The Killing Joke. This is seen as men writing women in a way that is far too removed from what women are really like, and that these women are being written as how some men wish women were like instead of what they actually are like, and that this all undermines the idea of female characters having a value unto themselves beyond that of a mere sex object. However, in contrast, there is an opposing view. There are some who feel that this is actually empowering to women, and that these characters are simply taking control of their own sexual activity. The next issue for examination is that some people have a problem with costumes. Starfire, during the New 52 reboot of DC Comics, drew a lot of heat from certain comic book fans for being way too scantily clad. And while she is an extreme example, other characters have drawn similar criticism for wearing clothes that were designed more for sex appeal seemingly rather than function. But in contrast to that, many say that superhero costumes are seldom drawn to be about, well, function. That they are designed to be striking looking and to show off superhero bodies. But that brings me on to my final point here. Body types. Because within the comic book community, some feel that the female form is drawn with completely unrealistic proportions, and that these figures can cause unrealistic expectations for young girls, as well as feeling that there is a lack of body type diversity in comic books in general. On the opposing side, however, there are those who want to simply point out the men in comic books. Male characters are not only wearing very revealing clothing too, but they also have body types that represent a completely unrealistic ideal. And yet, body complexes for men are not seen as being on the same level as they are for women, and that if we label this as a problem for young girls, then we may simply be ignoring the true cause of body stigmas instead of identifying the real issue. But finally, with all that being said, and after examining arguments from both sides of all three of these issues, where do I stand? Do I think that female comic book characters are over-sexualized? Yes. Now first, allow me to say that I do agree that when we see men presented in the same way as women in comic books, but yet the same issue doesn't seem to cut both ways in real life, I do think there's a chance that we might be scapegoating and blinding ourselves to the real cause. And also, I do think that superhero bodies and costumes are meant to be over the top and overly grand. Superheroes are supposed to be unrealistic versions of people. They're not supposed to be real. That's why they're, well, super. However, the reasons why I think that female over-sexualization in comics is a problem is because I think things are taken just a little bit too far. Costumes should be eye-catching and superhero bodies should be ideal, but that doesn't mean sexy. And for me, there's a very distinct difference between showing off muscles and being sexual. For example, just look at classic paintings and statues. Many of them, even the nude ones, are just artistically capturing the human form. They are not meant to be tantalizing. And this is all in keeping with how comic books should be drawn, remembering that they are indeed an art form. But most importantly, I just feel the need to stress that these are comic book characters. They're not supposed to be sexy. They're cartoons for f***'s sake, so just don't be weird.